Welcome to another editions of Inspired Discussions, where we challenge the way you think, shattering status quos while increasing your self-worth. They call me Sibley. Serving people is who I am. It's what I do. I'm with my co-host, your fellow sickler.
Yes, sir. Sickle cell don't run me. I run sickle cell. But with my name being your fellow sickler, I think I'm gonna change my name because I could think of a better name. It would be a lot easier, and it makes sense to me for the podcast. Because I know I use for your fellow sickler on my other projects or content and whatnot. But I also came up with a name like weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I'm like, you know what? This might actually work. I didn't know what I was really going to use it for, but I think I'm going to change it to Remy. Reme. And that's just realizing energy made me. So it's a play on the word while still the letters represent something. And at the end, it's just me because the energy made me. So I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Remy for
I
sure.
like it. I
Yeah.
like it. And I like anything for the betterment of the podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. You know I'm always thinking. Always thinking. Now, at the same time, I know I was just sick. Well, this past week or whatnot. Still having a little symptoms or whatnot. But the last time we tried to record, man, it just threw stuff off all the way. And
To say the
we
least.
called it early. But at the same time, like once it happened, I was like, why the heck did we just stop? We could have just pushed through that. Like, we shouldn't have to just cut everything off because pressure is like kind of building up on us in a way. I'm like, man, we should have just pushed through that. But at the same time, I saw how you felt about it and how much it meant to you and the reaction you had behind it. And I'm like, what was your actual like thought process for us to just stop? This isn't me harping on you directly, though. I'm just curious
Oh,
now.
it
I'm like,
is. It
I
is.
think you
It
just dipped
is.
out on me, bro.
You coming for me. You coming for me. Like, okay. Now I see why he said this may be our first podcast where, see, let me let y'all know. He let me know, like, before we start recording. Like, well, the first time we tried to start recording today. So we're going to get to talk about that since he didn't decide to make this whole podcast about me. But that's cool. That's cool because I'm a self-reflector, and we can do that because we're gonna free somebody through me.
Okay.
The thought process was, you know how I am. Like I'm a perfectionist, and I never want to give less than I know I'm capable of. So like, if I feel like I'm not going to be given like all of me to the ability that I know, because you know what I'm saying, my energy off, my vibe off.
Right.
Like I'm a like, yeah, let's try this again.
Just
Like,
chop it up.
yeah, let's try this again, some other time. It's similar this morning. The same thing.
Yeah, pretty
Everything
much.
get
Right.
thrown off, you ready to go. But the adjustment I made this time was, I'm like, give me an hour to get my mental back
Right.
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 Then we're gonna come back to it. And I realized that's why I don't mind us talking about it. I was just kind of, just joking with you for real, like, oh, you're going to make this about me. But I told you that in the
No,
telegram. I'm
I know.
like, that's on me. Like, that's on me. Like, I should push through that. You know what I'm saying? I got to
Right.
be able to push through that because, like, unexpected shit happen all the time. So it's like,
Facts.
you
Facts.
can't go, oh, I gotta go back to the drawing board every time. You gotta push through it, because it's those moments that's ultimately gonna build up your character and make you stronger. So those are
Right.
moments you got to push through. Like I'm totally aware of that, and I know better. I know better. So that's
Right.
why I don't mind being put on a cheer this podcast.
I mean, hey, it's not necessarily me putting you in the hot seat,
Oh, it
but I'm
is.
like, it made me think about it again because of what happened this morning. I'm like, we had to push stuff around an hour away or an hour off compared to our normal schedule, so to speak. And I'm like, you know what? What if this is just one of those moments or a test to where it's like you always going to get something that's going to keep you from doing what you really want to do. And I really thought about it, and I got that because I'm like, yo, between the last time when we didn't record to now, I was sick in the middle of it. I was busy, and I still, helped my sister with her birthday and whatnot. And we rescheduled. Like everything else happened in between, but yet still the same day, not the same day exactly, but the day that we decided to reschedule, still having something to throw us off. I'm like, yo, this is just one of those hurdles where it's like, get through this hurdle because at the same time, it may be a greater hurdle, later on down the line. And it's more so a lesson because on my end, I'm used to going through the hurdles alone with just whatever I'm going through with sickle cell or any other outside problems beyond sickle cell. But this is the first time where I also got to keep in mind the other individual that's going through it with me. So this is definitely an experience and made me think about that overall.
Yeah, and I think just to be on my end, just to be like real 100 with it,
Yeah.
like if I was like really to self-reflecting, like to like I say, really be 100 with it, it would be that the podcast. This gonna sound crazy. Now this is gonna sound crazy, like,
Ooh,
but
ooh,
but
ooh.
the podcast don't I'm not bought into it enough as I should be, because and I say that because I drew the parallel last year, and this just really came to me. So this like straight off the top of the dome, like this reflection just came to me. Like last year when I went through everything with what happened to my dad, when I tell you, bro, I did not miss a beat on anything that I was doing through all of that. Like
Mm,
I was dealing with that and still building on everything else that I had been building on previously before that adversity, because I was bought into it completely, and I knew in the back of my mind, like, this is what I'm going through now is gonna pass, and I'm gonna have to get back to this eventually. So I
mm.
need to work myself through everything I'm going through now. And damn, that I just really had an epiphany. Like
Hey,
these last 2 weeks, like everything that I'm going through now, like I'm just gonna have to deal with it in the present moment, and keep pushing forward, because like I cannot afford to stop right now. And I gotta adapt that same mentality with the podcast. So that's what I'm gonna work on just from here on out. Cause that is amazing. Now that is amazing how that just came
right.
to me. Like, cause I never like even drew that parallel until like you. That's why
Yes, definitely.
inspired
Definitely.
discussions, because man, when you
Yeah.
get to talking about stuff, and then
Yeah.
you
Getting
get,
into it now,
yeah,
boy.
it inspired,
Yeah.
like let's podcast. I'm ready now.
Yes. All right. Now, with that same statement, of course, I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, we had to go through something to get to this point. And even that epiphany that you just got, probably wouldn't have got it if we didn't push through it just now. Hey, so it still works itself out. Now, at the same time, oh my God, bro, this is crazy how this about to work, yo. So last time, I know we may have a specific topic to present, but the last topic that we presented was your value isn't the only value that matters. And then coming down to now and everything else we just said, the same way you feel about the podcast and the same way I feel about the podcast, and still going through different things to throw us off. Like I said, this is something that, like, it's a first timer for me, because I definitely got to consider the other person that's going through it with me. So with that, my said values and how I look at the podcast, it's not the only thing that matters. Yours do too, because you still bring what you bring to the table. I still bring what I bring to the table. But at the same time, we got to realize, well, at least I believe we have to realize the values that we have, the values that we bring. But if we're able to accept, analyze, understand our said values and what we're trying to do with the podcast, we also still got to look at the flip side of that, which is normally the stuff that we're going through at the same time. Because the values can still be found within the negative moments, such as what we went through just to get to this point. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I know you kind of lost me with that, because I guess I don't understand quite where you going with that.
Okay, let's not use the word value then.
Yeah,
How about
please
that?
don't, cause I just go, cause I
All right.
clearly, when I hear value something else, like it click in my brain, and we don't be on the same page with that. Like, so change the word and for me, and then
Okay.
maybe we can.
Okay. Let's use hurdle. Your hurdle isn't the only hurdle that matters. At the same time, we're going to go through it, but the way we go through it, the way we analyze it before and after, it 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 matters on both sides of the coin. So it's still a hurdle, and just because it's a hurdle, that doesn't mean that it doesn't hold any potential for anything else. Jesus Christ, this man is on me. Jesus. But yeah, so we don't got to use the value word. Just use hurdle. That's a better way to break it down for me. Does that work or not?
So you saying that
Within the negatives, there's still positive, but your negative isn't the only negative that matters.
okay. So basically, you saying like when when you go through certain things, you have to be conscious of what others are going through in those same moments. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Even though they're going through it in a totally different way, I still had to be aware of that. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm catching up a little bit now. I see
Okay.
where you're going with that. Like that, I don't know. It just seemed like, I'm like, is he trying to go deep, or is this like deep?
No,
Like,
I'm not even trying to go deep. Like, to me, that's just something to me. That's just something that I notice on the regular, and that doesn't mean like you don't notice it as well, or somebody else can't notice it. It's just I'm so used to thinking that way. That's why I use the word value, because I'm always trying to find value in something specifically. I don't care what it is, no matter how little or how big it may be. And yet at the same time, I still truly believe like there are true value in the things that are mostly negative. That's why I was trying
give
to
me an
merge
example.
those.
Give me an example. I'm
Of what?
I don't know of a situation that you talking about, because I'm just trying to come to a better understanding. Like, cause it's resistance right now. I'm just trying
Hmm.
to come to a better understanding.
Well, I mean, within what statement? The fact that there is something negative and that negative hold value.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. You know what? I can only use myself as an example. So, oh man, well, okay, yeah, I'm gonna use myself as an example. So there are these moments, of course, with me having sickle cell. I'm in the hospital almost every 2 months or whatever it may be, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. I don't want to be in those situations, and most of the time, those situations are out of my control. So I go in there. I try to get myself, better with the doctors and nurses that are working with me. So from the outside looking in, I'm I'm assuming that they're like, oh, he's sick. That really sucks for him. I hope he get better, which is okay. I'm not saying that that's wrong. While at the same time, me going into the hospital, me getting sick, these are things that nobody can really say, oh, that's a positive. He definitely got sick. He definitely is going in. He's definitely in pain, man. That's great. No, it's a negative in everybody's light, no matter how you think about it. But on my end, most of the time when I go to the hospital and get admitted, it always seemed to be one particular thing that stands out the most every single hospital visit. And I would have never came across that moment, or that moment would have never truly approached me in a way to where it made me think and act on a whole nother level. So even though I'm going through pain and everything else that's negative on a regular basis, those said moments I would never experience, even if it's with a doctor or a nurse. And it brings that positive side, turns that negative into a positive for me all the time. Because there's been plenty of times where I could have a neighbor, he's going through something. I don't know this dude from anywhere, but we strike up a conversation that holds value. Like I said, I like going off of value, that holds value that we probably never would have broke down. We probably never would have met anywhere else. So what he's going through and what I'm going through, there's still value in that. Like I said, because I perceive negative to be value, whatever he is going through, he's not, most of the time, they don't got sickle cell. They're not going through sickle cell pain or being in a sickle cell crisis. They could just be in there for a small surgery or anything else you think somebody would get admitted for. So on their end, it's negative, but most of the time, these same moments, and I want to say half the time, but I'm gonna say most of the time as well, the that said person isn't looking at it as a positive either.
Okay, I got you now. I guess, yeah, I just wasn't connecting with the way you was trying to articulate it, with the value and how you just keep saying it. I guess it's more so the use of value that was getting me. But I get
Okay.
that, because it basically what you're saying is like there's there's always those small, I guess you can say, silver linings in what other people perceive as just like, oh no, he's in the hospital, like,
Right.
it's just such a bad thing. And but there's always those moments for you where you is like, okay, this the value I got out of that situation. I
Right. Right.
I get that, because I can just draw the parallel with me. Let's go on, just going back to with my dad's situation and that transition. And like in that moment, like I was really thinking about people like you, Micah, my homeboy, or anybody ever that haven't dealt with what I was dealing with now, that one day, like, I'm gonna have to be that one and be like, look, I know exactly what you're going through, and you know what I mean. I'm here, like, cause I've been through it, like, so, like, I know, cause like in
Right.
those situations, like, you don't you don't care what everybody else telling you that ain't been through what you've
Yeah.
been through. Like, you don't know what I'm going through right now. So how in the hell can you tell me how I'm feeling or how I'm gonna feel later? Like, you can't.
Right.
You
Right.
can't. It's just like, I don't know what it's like to lose a mom. You know what I'm saying? So I can't tell somebody, like, you know, I only know what it's like to lose a dad because I know it's a different level. It's a different level. It's a whole nother experience. So like that I
Right.
have never been through. So like I can't tell you that. Oh, now we got to going. Now we on the same
Here we go.
wavelength.
Here we
Now we on the
go.
same wavelength. Yeah, so just in that, I get that because there always are those little, and those be the things that get you through because that's what got me through.
Facts.
It was me knowing that, like, yeah, I bought into a lot of other things, you know, that really like helped me heal with my dad, but that was really one of the main things where it's like, nah, I mean, because I like serving people is like really like my happy place, and like that just gave me more value to serve people, you know,
Here we go.
because of that experience that I went through, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
I'm liking the fact that it's coming around now because I really wanted to talk about that one, and I'm like, well, you know what? If everything is just keeping us from even talking about that topic, why don't we just push through it either way? Like, I'm with these hurdles one way or another because I know these hurdles are always attached to some type of blessing at the end of the day, but we don't see it before we even go through the hurdle. We got to go through the hurdle to get the blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah. Oh
sometimes
yeah. Yeah.
you
No
can't
doubt.
accept
No
those
doubt.
blessings.
No doubt. You no doubt. And I know that. Like I know that. Like that ain't nothing new to me. It's just it was sometimes what it boiled down. It ain't no sometimes. Like I'm just an emotional person, and I get caught up in my feelings way too often. And you know, and that's about that might that may be the topic of the podcast. Get out your feelings. like because I just get caught up in my
Right.
feelings. Like I can't, it's like I always say, like I can't, like you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it.
Yes, definitely. Yes,
And
definitely.
far too often, just me personally, like I get too in my feelings, and you know I detach away from, you know, being conscious of like really thinking stuff through. Like, you know, I'm passionate, you know, so I'm emotional just like right off back. Like once that adrenaline get the run going, whether it's negative or positive, it's gone.
Right,
Like
right,
it's gone, and like
right,
I'm on a skyrocket regardless, and you gonna get full emotion, whether it's in this way or on the opposite end of the spectrum where it's coming out negative, where I'm boom, boom,
right.
boom, boom. Because like even the situations the last couple of weeks, it was a matter of me getting too overly emotional and not really, you know, coming down. That's why I know what it is because I don't be starting my days right doing these podcasts. So like I know what it is. Like I don't get into
Mhm.
my full routine where yeah, I know what it is because I take them days off, and I can't do that. Like this episode is putting me on the couch. That may be the title. I think that's a better title. Put Sibley on
What's
the
this
couch.
red tabletop with Jada Pinkett?
Right. Right.
But with what you just said, it the way the way I broke it down in my head was we know the things that work for us. We know the things that we need to do to get to a certain point, no matter what situation it is, no matter if it's the beginning, middle, at the end of the situation. We know what works for us, and we accept that because it's something that we're used to. While at the same time, when we're not getting that said moment of inspiration, motivation, like when we're not getting that thing that really works for us, and I have this problem as well. This is why I'm also kind of bringing it up. When we don't have those moments when we're accepting what works for us, I typically just shrug it off or quit. But we need to start really just focusing on the fact, all right, this is pouring into me and this is what I'm used to. But when that faucet is off, what is my reaction then? You know what? Instead of me just leaving that faucet off and waiting for it to hit me again, no, man, we got to fix that faucet. We going to get what we need to get from that because we know that works for us. Period.
Or I just take what the thought before when you was like, instead of waiting for it to come, like, tie yourself into things so you know that faucet not going off. You know what I mean?
That's
Like, so
another
it
way to
never
do
go
it.
off in the
Exactly.
first place. Like,
Oh,
why is it getting cut off? Like, why is it
right.
getting cut off? You know?
Okay, now, not to cut you off right there. Now, in that exact moment, I'm going back to it again. The same way I just broke that down and how I looked at it, and then you broke it down and looked at it, well, presented it to me in a different fashion. My said value isn't the only value that matters, boy. Look at that. Look at that, boy. What? Look how it come around, though. There we
Oh,
go.
man.
There we go.
I'm like, hold on, what is he doing?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. You like it. You like it. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
you right though. You right though, cause like once again, we said different things, but the same thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you know,
Right.
and it be and it's and it all just boiled down to like keep the faucet running. You know what I mean? Like keep whatever pouring
Right.
into you running. And like I say, like at this point, like I feel like, man, it's such a self-reflecting podcast because I know better. I know better. Like I ain't gonna drop
Hey,
the F
it's not
bomb.
all on you.
I ain't gonna drop the
We in
F
this
bomb,
together.
but
I'm
like,
with it
you know what
too.
I'm saying? Like I know better. Like and it is really unacceptable. Like it really is. Like it's really unacceptable.
I mean, that's one of the bigger steps, really, just realizing it and accepting it. That's not bad at all.
That's the thing though, man, with me, man. Like the fact, like that's my one. If I say I have a greater strength, that's what it is. It's the ability to self-assess. And like the more I just keep thinking about it and it's all setting in, it's like I shouldn't even be here. Like I shouldn't even be at this point. Like because I absolutely know better. Like I absolutely know better. It's like when you touch that hot stove, that mom, don't touch that stove, it's
Right.
hot, and you still
Right.
go
Right.
and touch it. It's like you
Right.
know better, and then you go do it again. Like you knew it was still hot. Like it was hot. It was hot the
Right.
first time. Like so, what make you think it's not gonna be hot the second time you touch it? So
Yeah. True. True. Now, man, I'm so happy we actually got that out the way because I really wanted to get that out the way. Like, I was not gonna let that just go by. I'm like, bro, that one weighs too much on my mind. Like, we got to get that value out the way. And I mean, I could lead into the original topic, really, the one that we plan on discussing. And it could be a shift away from it, but we never know because sometimes this stuff come all the way around, boy. Um, and it's lessons that we're like forced to learn. At the end of the day, there are things that are, I mean, this is how I'm looking at it. So you might look at it differently, but lessons that we're forced to learn because there are things out of our control and we can't do nothing about it, while at the same time it's like somebody placing a hurdle in front of you and you can't do nothing about the fact that they done placed that hurdle in front of you. It ain't going nowhere. It's like it's there, period. So either way, we got to go through that hurdle just to get to whatever is on the other side of that hurdle. We're forced to learn the lessons. We're forced to go through the positive. We're forced to go through the negative. We're forced to think differently. And a lot of those things we don't even analyze or try to understand in the moment because we're so used to just going through something and it's like, oh yeah, this is a regular. While at the end of all that, that hurdle is there, we should already see that hurdle. Then the process of getting through that hurdle, we should be aware of that, analyzing that in the moment as well. And then when we get over the hurdle, we should reflect because it's so quick to accept the fact of, all right, I got through that hurdle, man. That's what's up. What's next? So that one statement, you don't really accept, analyze, and understand how you went through that hurdle. It's just cool. I made it through it. Positivity is so, I don't know. To me, it's so small, and most of the time, it doesn't really matter. As soon as we get over that first positive moment, we're already looking for the next positive moment, the next thing that's going to help us out, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but at the same time, we really should be reflecting on the hurdle that we just passed, how we got through it, how we started it, how we ended it, but we don't do that. So
I don't agree with that completely because I don't because I don't think that you should spend too much time reflecting on the past because it's okay to be like, okay, I need to fix this and this and that, but I feel like you shouldn't keep on going back there because it kind of keep you in the past, back in the past in a similar way. Like that's just me because what works for me is I gotta tap into those positive moments. Like even if I'm still kind of in the reflecting mode. I'm in a reflecting mode. Like I still gotta attach on to those. I guess you can what we call them silver linings, and
right,
and just because it goes to like we said, like you can't never turn that faucet off. Like you
right,
can't even put your hand over it for a little bit to stop it running. Like you gotta continually to have that faucet on and like it never be off and
right. I
shit.
mean, I, I'm not saying like stay and reflect on it constantly and stay in the past. No, I'm not necessarily saying it like that. It's just once you get through the hurdle, just that moment right there, once you get through the hurdle, analyze everything that just happened from the beginning, middle to the end. And I think there's more positive, what, more positive, inspiring, motivating thoughts that come from that than automatically just looking towards the next positive. Now, I'm not saying don't look to the next positive. And I'm not saying like stay on the
I
past.
think we saying the same thing though, because if you looking back at those moments and pulling stuff from up out of it, like that's the
Yeah,
same thing I'm saying is staying attached to the positive things of that situation. I guess because I say that because just like I say with me personally, sometimes when I reflect, I stay there too long, and because
right.
like I say, I'm emotional and like I get caught up in my feelings. So like it's hard for me to you know separate everything be together. I'd be like, fuck them. Damn, I ain't want to drop the F bomb.
Well, so much for that one, buddy.
I would be like, the heck with them. And at the same time, like it don't matter that much. So like I don't really like staying there for too long. I just really like, okay, I learned this from here and now I released it. I don't even care about going back there no more because this is what I'm taking from it, and I'm moving forward.
Now, with that same thing, we just discussed how we individually look at those moments. Now, what about those other moments that we're not the only ones that's really going through it? Like right now with everything that's going on in the world, sickness, uh, racism at an all-time high, like a lot of things that are just going on around the world. How can we? This is really a question for myself, but I'm still ask it because how can I analyze and understand a situation that is like way beyond me and pull positive out of it while it's going on? For me, that's hard to do when I'm looking at everybody else outside of myself. When it's just me, I can easily do that. I can easily break that down and pull stuff from it. But I'm like, with everything else that's going on, I can't. I don't know how. I mean, that's like a real question. I don't know how to look at that and pull something from it. Because when we're thinking about Corona and everything else, we hear about these deaths, we hear about these riots or whatnot when it comes to the police. And I'm like, I can't find a positive with any of it.
Now, with the Corona situation, I feel like what I do is, and how I handle it, like the whole virus situation, like I probably went through like three levels of, I would 3 levels of, I guess, 2 levels, I say, of, I don't know what to call it, concern, I guess. At first, I was just blowing it off like it's nothing, and then that level went to where it got closer to home, and I'm seeing all these reports like, oh shit, it's Michigan. Then you
Right,
go, dang, Flint.
right,
And then so it's like,
right.
okay, this is my backyard now.
Mm-hmm.
So like it is more a level of a caution, but like again, it's sickness. So like I don't try to consume myself with it too much because like I really believe you bring what you think about. So like I feel like if I consume myself with
Right,
it too much, like I'm gonna bring it to me. It might not come to me directly, or it's gonna invade itself into my circle. Period. Because like I thought, like just to go back with my dad's situation with the whole Corona, like I thought, like I took from that, like I was more grateful that my dad transitioned last year than and then making it to this year, because my dad had underlying diseases that could have affected him. He could have got sick. It would have been a totally different situation
oh, right,
if I would have lost my dad to the virus,
right, right.
like it would have been a total different situation. So
Yeah,
like I try not to, consume myself with thoughts of that nature. And then as far as like the the racism and the police brutality, I was just talking to Shaq about this yesterday. Like I have always felt like racism is not a black people problem, because we
whoa,
can't
what?
fix something that we didn't create. Like it's not a black people problem. It's a white person problem. It's their problem. They need to fix that. Because I draw this parallel. Like if you see somebody of color in a position of let's just take Obama. You know what I mean? Like you take
Okay,
Obama and you see him as president or whatnot, that's gonna look different. That's gonna look different that's gonna look different in the eyes of a black kid than it is a white kid, because it looks more like them and they gonna be able to relate to that.
right,
And so I draw the parallel with racism is, it's like until white people start speaking out against it, people
right,
that look like them is gonna be able to take it in and like really be like, aha. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when we do it, it's like, okay, they just looking at it as, oh, they lazy, this and that, the narrative that they driven through it. So like it's a counterproductive battle to me. And like I always felt like the like And this not to say that I'm not like for activism or nothing like that in the protests or whatnot,
Right.
but I believe like the
Right.
bigger picture is like they have to fix it. Like, and as
Now,
far
I
as
mean, at the same time, all right. So with that, you're seeing it as is their problem and they got to fix that. But when I see them not even trying to fix it, I'm like, then what? Then what? Is it put back in our hands, or we just wait on them to fix what's going on? Because even with both of those, I can't pull nothing from that.
this a touchy situation.
That's all
it,
right.
it's so touchy because I really want to be careful with my words here because I don't want to make it seem like anything is not, because like again, it ain't nobody that's like more pro our community than me. I feel like I speak that like the way I move in business, it's all about, you know, reconstructing like Black Wall Street, like within like my reach, you know what I mean? And then that'll expand to bigger things. And and I guess, man, I'm just so like centered, focusing. I guess I say it because I can't control something that's not my problem. I can't control that. But what I can do is like what we can do is like we can make sure people of color are in more positions of power. Like I can do that. I can do that through an economic basis, like because that's my
Right.
calling, like economics and finance. Like I understood a long time ago, like I wasn't. Well, I ain't gonna say a long time ago. Like over the past 2-3 years, like I'm not necessarily Malcolm X per se to be like out there in the front like the marching, but I am the guy that finance people like that, like to put the money behind them
Okay.
because that's that's the problem. Like that's one of the problems. It's an economic thing, like because that's
Mm,
what they doing. Like it's really like, you know, big business has paid these politicians to oppress our people. And
right.
until we, you know, get on the right end of the economic scale, like I feel like we're gonna continue to be oppressed. Like until you wake up every day and you take care of you and you make means by yourself and you got a system set up for yourself, like you
Right.
always gonna be oppressed because you always gonna be dependent on that guy waking up every day in and day out. Like he gotta make sure like the owner of these companies can, you know, do some racist stuff and then get their company stripped from them and then millions lose jobs. So, you know,
Right.
so like I
So
think we just gotta do a better job of, you know, putting the issues in our hands and not so focusing on like, yeah, they racist and like, yeah, you have to speak out against it. But I guess what I'm trying to say, like I feel like we spend too much energy in that area when it should be like building infrastructure.
right. Okay. So from that, what I got was, which I agree with your starting statement that the things that are out of our control really shouldn't put too much energy into it, because that energy gonna be wasted. But if you put that energy into helping the situation or assisting the situation, then you can pull positive from the way you're working, the way you're thinking, the way you're acting on it. Is that what you were saying overall? At least that's how I looked at it. We can't rely on them, and sometimes we can't rely on our own group. But if we can provide our own way to assist and help the the bigger picture, then we
Exactly.
can pull
Exactly.
positive from our own actions at the end of the
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. Because like it's like, yeah, like I say, I just think too much energy be spent on like trying to fix white racists. Like
Right.
you can't fix that. Like they gotta fix that. You know what I'm saying? But what can you fix? You know what I mean? Like what type of narratives can you flip and be like, nah, that's not the way it worked. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
this how it
You know what
is.
that sound like to me? That that sounds like I remember I saw two guys that were like discussing particular things in their own lives or other people's lives, but there was a moment where they were saying that even when that even when that faucet is off, we still gotta pour into ourselves in other ways so we can keep what we got, so we can keep pushing the way we always push, that keeps us motivated or inspiring other people and ourselves. So just because that faucet isn't there or just because that faucet is off, we should already have other things, other ways to pour into ourselves. And that sounds very similar to those two I said.
It it
That's
it do. It
dang.
it most definitely do.
It's somehow we can bring all that around and tie it in to the same thing that started at. And we well, we first discussed it within our own self. We discussed it within both of us, and we still discussed it on a higher level when it's things that are not necessarily in our control or dealing with a gathering of other people or the left side or the right side of things. And to me, that just says, don't stop. Even when that hurdle is there, it's like you can't you can't just avoid the hurdle. And even if you're not seeing something in that moment, there can still be something that you can do to help. And with you helping, you should be able to pull something from your own actions overall, even when it's outside of yourself. I definitely don't be thinking about other people when when I'm going through like say a sickle cell crisis or something like that. Man, I'm just thinking about myself and what I can do. But like I said, it's always those moments that pull me back and make me think, make me understand when I'm sick and what's going on within me, what's going on before I got sick, and how I look at things after the fact of me being sick. And we got to stay in that mindset, period. Because otherwise, you're going to give up without even trying. You won't even put in the act if you're not even thinking about trying.
Yeah, and I do that same thing too though, like because when I get tunnel vision and I lock in, shit, I lock in and like I'm not concerned about what's going over here, what's going on over there, what's happening over here, like especially like all this other stuff that been going on in the world, man. Like I was just focused on perfecting my forex strategy with my partner Trey and
Yeah.
getting this podcast going with you. Like all that other stuff, like that people, yeah, you see what such and such said, or you see the one video or this. I'm like, nah. Like,
Now,
nah.
with that, this might be a little off topic, but I just can't help but think about it as we're talking. Those moments where it's positive and we can pull something out of it, whether it's dealing with ourselves, one other person, or a larger group, or just our own actions. But why is it that when we come across these positive moments, situations, thoughts, actions, or whatever, why do we only let those positive, everything I just said, live for a short time span and we automatically push off onto the next one? That part I will never get.
I think it's over the years being programmed to move on to the next challenge or whatever, and not enough practicing staying in the present moment and like soaking up that gratitude, soaking up that lesson, you know, like we more trained to stay in and harp over the negative and the bad moments than we are to stay, or then we are programmed to, you know, stay in the present moment, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because and that's something like I'm still learning to this day, because like even just to tie it back to the beginning of the podcast, like I was so like we gotta redo this, you know. It can't,
Right.
we gotta redo this. And but making that adjustment with this week, it was like, look, give me an hour, I'm about to reset, and
Right.
then we're
Right.
gonna get going. And then we get going, and then we got the internet connection, and then we had
Man, bro, it was so much stuff. I'm like, bro, I don't never have a problem like that. I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on, but that's when I was like, yo, okay, this is a test. This is a hurdle that it's either we gonna crumble or we gonna push through it. Either way. And yeah, because I ain't gonna lie. When you said this was today, when you said uh what your hours looking like today or whatever, in my head I'm like, he better not quit on me right now. He better not just stop, bro. No, we not stopping. I swear if you would have said something like that, I'm like, no, we not stopping, bro. We're gonna reschedule this today. We are not. We're not having it. No. I was waiting on it. I was thinking it like, please don't do this to me. Don't do it.
nah, cause like I say, I didn't think about it in that moment, but like I knew the plan that I had that I wanted to do, and I'm like, shoot, this is really the makeup from last week, you know what I mean? And like
Right.
we're going through the same situation. So like I ain't grew if I say let's just call, even with having one tomorrow, it's like we still behind from like what we supposed to be. So it's
Right.
like, nah, give me an hour. I need to reset. And that's what I did. I just
Man.
reset and, you know, got back to the basics.
when when you're, I don't know. This might sound sentimental than anything, and for those who know me, know I'm not really on that emotion like that. But with what we went through and where we are now, just talking about the rescheduling, going through everything, our hurdles, blah blah blah. Like I said, this is the first time where I had to go through it with somebody else, and I'm noticing that with us pushing through it like we are now, and getting where we want to be, the same way I would understand, break down the success behind that hurdle for myself is different. It feels different when I'm including you as well. Like, yo, we went that together, and when we pushed through that moment of or inside me, that joy inside of me feels totally different from the joy that I normally receive when I'm just thinking about myself. And to be honest with you, like when you just look at the word joy, for me, I'm still talking about me. When I look at the word joy, it's just one particular definition or meaning behind it. So I would normally think, okay, joy is joy. It's gonna feel the same way no matter where it is. But now realizing that, okay, the joy I got for myself and the joy that I got for us is definitely different. And I would have never thought about that if
Most
I didn't just
definitely.
feel
Like
that.
I experienced that, and that's just because I think I believe we built to be selfless in that way. You know what I
You
mean?
mean
Like
like us as people or us as me and you?
I just think like people in general though, like if you have a soul, like a good heart, like you built that
Right.
way. You know what I mean? Like it's not about you. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
about you. Like yeah, because like now this may just be a more so of a us thing, like just about as far as the perspective of it. It's like
Okay.
because like when I overcome some stuff alone, like it's to be expected for me. Like I expect myself to do that. You know what I mean? But when you go through it with somebody else, it's like it's a different type of variable because you can't you can't control if I'm gonna really push through with you.
Right, right, right,
You
right.
know, you can't control if I'm gonna push through with you. And so once you know, I think why it's so much joy is I'm getting the going now, and it's almost to the end. Like once once you know you got somebody in your corner that you can fight with, that got the same type of resilience that you got, like it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling of winning. Like, you know, like what
Yeah,
what
no,
what I
definitely.
feel, I'm gonna put it to like a competing standpoint. Like in with the same situation, like what
Okay.
I felt like when I shot my 300 individually, like it was a feeling where it was like, I mean, like it felt good because it was my first perfect game, blase blah. But
Right.
had we lost that game as a team, what does it really mean? You know,
Yeah.
like
True.
it don't
True.
really mean nothing. It's like
Yeah.
okay, you just put up 50, but y'all lost
Right.
as a
Right.
team. Like
No.
like okay, you got through, but it wasn't good enough to pull everybody else.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
Right.
like I think it's a
Definitely.
different type of feeling when you know like I guess it just to go it come back around full circle. And
Go ahead.
okay,
Go ahead and
I
say it.
see where you was going with it now, and it's clicking a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like
Go
your
ahead.
value
Yeah.
isn't the only value that
Ooh,
matter.
look at him, boy. Look at him, boy. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, like that's just my thought on that right there. Like that.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. That's dope, man. I'm really liking this episode. I ain't gonna lie. I'm really liking this episode, bro. I'm so happy I got that one off. We can focus on the other topic on the next one, but man, I'm so happy I got that one off. I don't got to think about that no more because that's really been on my mind the entire time. Because
Well,
even
since
when
since we on that, go ahead and leave them with your inspired thought. What you want to leave them with, and
what? Oh man, okay, now you got me on the spot. Gee, dog.
give
Oh
me a
man.
spot. You gotta leave them with a summary.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it with this then. With our main thing being your value isn't the only value that matters. At least consider both sides of that coin. No matter if it's just you, other person, or a large group. And especially if you can't find anything within that moment, situation, or thought, then there's definitely the value in you acting on that said moment, thought, or whatever. And that's the moment, that's the thing you're supposed to pull out of. That's the value right there. It's already in you.
Facts.
That's the
I'm with that, and just for me, because like I say, this was a put Sibley on the couch episode. So like,
Jesus Christ.
it was though. I call it space. Like you put me on the
Right.
couch from the start. Like it took me a while to like go from actual therapist with you from being a patient, but like
Bro, I was irritated when that happened, man. I was trying to keep it together, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro.
yeah, but for me it's just like get up out your feelings because because it's something that I already know, so I'm just gonna keep just reinforcing it because I know it's just something with me that I'm just totally working to evolve every day in and day out. Like, just get up out your feelings and like really analyze the situation and see,
Yeah.
and so you can understand, like why is why am I really going through this moment right now? Like, and because you really can't make that self-assessment in your feelings because that's all you caught up on.
Facts.
So
Yep.
like that's
Yep.
that's all I got. You know, y'all know the IGs, now the IG Inspired
Yeah.
Discussions, the YouTube channel Inspired Discussions. We working on getting them on the streaming platforms because I know some of
Yep.
y'all just listen and don't watch. So we most definitely working on that. And if you ain't got nothing else, we will see y'all next week.
No, I don't want. When I come back next time, I will no longer be your fellow sickler. I will be Remy, because I'm realizing energy is what made me.
And that's it. See y'all next week. Let's create.